Hey everyone, my name is Gavin, and today we're going to be reviewing the new Olivia Rodrigo album, Sour. Um, and I will say, before we get this review started, that I will say I greatly respect that this album isn't insanely long and that it's very concise. If anything, it's not a very long album. It's around 30 minutes long, and I feel like it having this very small, concise amount of tracks instead of having it being insanely dragged out and me getting bored halfway through it, I think for me is a lot better, and I prefer that than just having something that just is too dragged out. Instead, having something that's, very, it comes and goes, but it does that in a nice way. And I don't love this album by any means. This isn't going to be a praising review, but that is something I wanted to point out that I greatly respect. And another thing about it is the versatility, I will say, of this entire album. In mixes, it incorporates a lot of genres, such as pop punk, bedroom pop, etc. And I feel like the way it does it is a very well done. The way these genres are incorporated aren't very lazy at all. I feel like the way they do it is the way she does it. It's mostly, for the most part, I think good, but I guess we'll just start going into the track listing and what stood out to me as good or bad. Brutal is a very edgy, pop-punky opening for the album. That's very much represents the album cover in a lot of ways. I think the sort of sassy attitude, I guess, that this song has, like the edginess of it. I think you know where I'm going with this. I don't like it. I get that Olivia was trying to replicate teen angst, I guess, but I think the way it comes off is just kind of annoying and obnoxious and not very listenable, in my opinion. And I don't even really see any Olivia Rodrigo stan liking this either. On Trader is when we open up to the main themes of the album, which is love, heartbreak, and her boyfriend dating somebody new. Well, I will say, like this, in many tracks, it is professionally mixed and very well produced, and I think Olivia's voice is very good. I feel like the lyricism is a bit weak on this album, if anything. I feel like because of the subject material and what she's discussing, it just doesn't work very well. And for the most part on this album, it's very much the way she expresses it is in a kind of childish way, if you know what I mean. Not exactly a mature route. It's mostly her just kind of really getting mad and getting angry at him instead of expressing what this relationship really did to her. If that makes any sense, I feel like because of that, I just can't really relate with her as much or sympathize with her. There are other tracks, and there will other tracks that we'll get to where I do sympathize with her a bit more, but I feel like on this one, and multiple of their songs specifically, I just can't really relate with her. And because of the subject matter that is quite weak, and in the story that she's telling, it doesn't really interest me, even if it's only 30 minutes long. Driver's License is a nice track that, unlike the other ones, actually gives a bit more context and a bit more lyricism and gives us a bit more of an idea of what happened. But I feel like overall, it's just not that great of a track and just is decent. Like a lot of this album, it's just the lyricism for the most part, and the songs for the most part are mostly overall just solid tracks and not that great. And I feel like this is one that's like just kind of decent in its own way, and it's not exactly a great, or there's not much that stands out about this one. One step forward and two steps back gives us a bit more of an idea of the toxicity of the relationship that Olivia was in, but it doesn't really give us that much besides that. There isn't much production wise or vocally that I'm actually interested in this track that gets me hooked into this track, and I feel like because of that, it really just mostly falls flat and doesn't really give me a ton to really like. Deja Vu is nothing really special besides the exceptional production as well as the vocal samples at points that really suck you in, but beyond that, it's just kind of another breakup song. Deja Vu is nothing really special besides the exceptional production as well as the vocal samples at points that really suck you in. But beyond that, it's just kind of another breakup song. Then the album continues with Happier, which is a song where she says that I hope you're happy, but not the way you were with me, which doesn't make sense because she really paints her ex-boyfriend in this entire album as the villain for most of the album. Even in this song, she does the exact same thing. So it just feels like this whole bipolar switch thing that doesn't really make any sense. And it just confuses me. It doesn't make sense to me, and I just don't understand it overall. I feel like in a way this is supposed to be her trying to have a more mature look on the whole thing, or maybe admitting that she's selfish or jealous of the whole thing and that she might be wrong, but I don't really see that in this whole track. It just doesn't really work. Jealousy, I would say, is one of the more relatable songs on the album, if anything, about seeing people on the internet that are more successful than you are, sometimes being jealous of their life and the sort of lifestyle that they present. With social media and all this stuff, this is something that I feel like, in a way, we can all kind of relate to or understand in a way, and I feel like the way she presents it is very nice and just well done. It's not exactly elegant in the way it's presented, it's a lot edgier, I guess, in the way with the production, but I feel like that works to its advantage as well and works with the tone and the atmosphere that it's trying to create. Then the album comes to a close with Hope You're Okay, which is probably my favorite, or I will say is my favorite track on the entire album, where she basically talks to friends, basically talks to people that she was friends with a long time ago in the past, and struggles they've had to go through, and basically says, I hope you're okay. I hope you're still doing well, even if I'll never see you again. Which, in its own way, is sad, but it's also very hopeful with the way it's presented, with the way her vocals are incorporated into that, with the way the production is incorporated into that. And I feel like, as a whole, it's a track that makes me smile and is a great ending to it, because it also hints at a sense of maturity that Olivia Rodrigo is going throughout this LP, and knowing that it really, in a way, has this wholesome ending that I feel like is a lot better than what we got before, and really shows her potential even more than it did in the other past 10 tracks that have been shown. So overall, I think with this album, I feel like Olivia Rodrigo has a lot more potential than what she delivered on this album, and I feel like as her career grows, she will probably do a lot better than this. And I feel like as her very first album, this is very impressive. I don't think for most people on most of their first albums can do this well, but as an album in and of itself, it's nothing that great to me. I think I'll give it overall a 7.5 out of 10. So that was my entire review. What did you think about it? What's the next thing you want me to review? I know this is a different style. I felt like doing a first reaction and review to this wouldn't make a lot of sense. It didn't feel right. So I decided to review instead as a new thing. Let me know what you think of the new style. Let me know what you want me to review next. Yes, I know I'm going to review Donda. I know no one cares or says in the comment section. Maybe there's a couple people thinking it or something. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I will. Either way, I'm gonna react to Donda because it's Donda. It's Kanye West. But that's gonna be it for the video.